evening. First tonight, there have been dramatic scenes outside the hotel of the Iranian women's football team, where protesters tried in vain to stop them from leaving. The group is now believed to be bound for Sydney before they return to the Middle East. But it will be without 5 of their teammates who were granted asylum. In a highly secretive operation, it is an extraordinary defection in the wake of the war in their homeland, which has now seen Australian troops deployed to the conflict zone. Matthew Carstunen begins our coverage.
Emotions boil over as protesters lie on the road. A noble attempt to keep the Iranian women's football team on the safe shores of Australia. Traversing Gold Coast traffic, the players first fly to Sydney before a long trip home to the Middle East, leaving behind 5 of their own who were this morning granted asylum in Australia.
There were lots of photos, lots of celebrating, and then a spontaneous outbreak of Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi.
Similar scenes of jubilation outside the team hotel. After the group, including the team captain, escaped their handlers yesterday, whisked away to a safe house and protected by federal police.
To be put in this situation where essentially they have to choose between saving their own lives and saving the lives of their families is an impossible situation.
The tough call made after the Iranian team were labelled traitors for not singing their national anthem at the Asian Cup last week, warned by the regime they'd face serious punishment upon their return. Asylum has been in contact with one of the players who is staying in Australia.
She really loved her home country. Obviously, she wanted to go back. She wasn't prepared for this decision when she got here.
The developments grabbing headlines around the world.
We're tracking a developing story out of Australia this hour.
And the attention of US President Donald Trump, who took to Truth Social demanding our Prime Minister grant the team asylum before picking up the phone.
President Trump rang me this morning just before 2 a.m. We had a very positive discussion for the remaining members of the team. If they want to make a similar decision, Australia has already opened its heart.
But this afternoon, the federal government introduced reforms to Parliament which would give the Home Affairs Minister extra powers to cancel temporary visas of tourists from specific countries, including Iran, if there are concerns those visitors will apply for asylum.
What a new low from this Labor government. What an appalling act of cruelty.
They are laws that make sense when it comes to protecting our national security.
Matthew Carstunen, 10 News.
No, Hannah, the remaining players are believed to be travelling towards Sydney right now.
Sandra, it's understood that the remaining 15 Iranian players will be touching down here at Sydney Airport within the hour, stoking fears from their supporters that they'll be leaving Australia and heading back to Iran as soon as tonight. Their departure from their Gold Coast hotel was marked by those chaotic scenes that we brought you a little earlier as protesters surrounded the bus carrying the players. We spoke to a group of supporters who arrived here at Sydney Airport, just some of the people who are now fearful that opportunities for those remaining players to seek asylum here on Australian shores could be dwindling. Sandra.
All right, Hannah Stewart reporting there. Thank you. With the Prime Minister deploying a surveillance aircraft and 85 associated troops to help defend Gulf states from Iranian attacks. Air-to-air missiles will also be sent to the United Arab Emirates, where over 20,000 Australians remain.
Wedgetown to the war zone. The Australian surveillance plane leaves RAF Base Williamtown near Newcastle this afternoon for the Middle East. 85 defence personnel on board for an initial 4 weeks.
We are not protagonists. What we are doing is providing for defence of the UAE and of Australian citizens.
The Prime Minister justifying his decision to provide military assistance to Gulf countries coming under attack by Iran, deploying an E-7 Wedgetown equipped with a powerful radar to detect drones and missiles. It was previously sent to Europe to protect the flow of supplies into Ukraine.
We will have command over the E-7 and its crew.
Australia is also giving the UAE an undisclosed number of air-to-air missiles to shoot down
offensive weapon, and so we're confident about their use.
When your friends ask you for help, if you're able to help, you should help.
The federal government pointing to the 24,000 Australians currently in the UAE, many relying on commercial flights out of Dubai Airport to come home. It's been repeatedly targeted. Security expert Malcolm Davis says it's also in Australia's interest to protect the flow of fuel.
If that oil is cut off from the Persian Gulf, then all the worst consequences of us running out of our 35-day oil reserve are realised.
It's not in our national interest. It's not designed to be in our national interests. It's designed to be in the national interests of the United States.
Australia's involvement underlies the widening impact of the Middle East war, but does it put us at risk of retaliation by Iran?
I don't think there's any threat to Australia from Iran directly in terms of a military action.